in the KB Cup final. The Parramatta side, they came to this quarter-final with a loss to Penrith at Tweed Heads, and then they had that very big win over New South Wales Combined Country. There's their team for tonight, a very strong one. I must admit I was thinking that Ray Price, Michael Cronin and John Muggleton may not play, but such, as you can see, is not the case, and Jack Gibson has certainly picked a very strong team. Brisbane, they also were fortunate to make the quarterfinals, qualifying with a loss to Balmain here at Lang Park, and then a very big win was needed against South Island, New Zealand. Here's their team, minus those three players I mentioned, and captained by Rod Morris, with Mark Murray, I would think, very keen to impress selectors with a big game against the outstanding Parramatta halfback Peter Sterling. Joining us tonight for the quarter-time breaks will be former international and South Sydney hero John Sattler, and at half-time, the indisposed Brisbane captain Wally Lewis will be my special guest. We're back with referee Barry Gomersall and the kick-off in just a moment.
Gomersall, himself a very controversial figure, and certainly taking up the back pages of most of the Sydney newspapers anyway, with criticism levelled at him even before the kick-off by, in particular, the Parramatta club. So Michael Cronin, who's had a very busy schedule, is about to start with Parramatta, the blue and golds, running from right to left. That ball has gone 10 metres. The crowd was of the belief that it wouldn't go the 10. It was kicked off by Peter Sterling. It certainly didn't look like it was going to make the required margin, but then it took a left-hand turn, and so a scrum to go down about 11 metres on the Brisbane side of halfway. Working the scrum is Mark Murray, the Brisbane half, and it's the first episode going to Cornescu as Norm Carr tries to run it on the blind side, and he's picked up in cover by Paul Taylor. Over the top, Stephen Edge. So it's to Murray, and now taking it up in number 9 for Brisbane is Fullerton Smith. Metres, the Brisbane side of halfway now. Rod Morris. Tackler being Bugden. Now Murray. A chip. And taken up by Sterling, but he's been put to ground. And 6 more tackles, says the referee. Murray. That's Cherry. Number 13 is Grenke, prop forward. Morris putting it down. Gomersall says play on. Cornescu in 12. And Chris Phelan in 10, the main tackler with Stephen Edge. So Harry it is, the 5/8, putting it in the air, testing Paul Taylor, but he's lost it. I was about to say he took it safely, but he's lost it. 6 more tackles, says the referee. Out to Murray. Now to Morris. And tackled by Steve Ella. Murray again. Through Harry. This man is Gene Miles. Picking up Fullerton Smith. And players about 15 metres out from the Parramatta line now. Curry. Very lightly framed fullback. In fact, I don't think I've seen 2 smaller fullbacks go round in the top level of the game ever. Neither, I don't think, would make 11 stone. So the kicking game continues from Brisbane as Harry puts it up. Ella's got it safely this time, and he's crushed into the ground by Cherry. Now Eric Groth. Back after injury. Apparently had a blinder on Sunday against Canberra. Ella is into dummy half. Now O'Reilly. Getting a pass down, but it's with Norm Carr. So Parramatta starting the game with a lot of mistakes. And really they have faced something like now almost 24 tackles with a very brief punctuation mark, that's all. Here's Morris. Out through Harry. Gene Miles. Taken by Michael Cronin on the 22-way line. Running with it is Cherry, the other centre. Phelan going in with Price. And this is the last tackle coming up. So here comes the first penalty of the game. Right in front of the uprights. And it should be fairly easy, I would think, for the 5'8" Harry to pick up the first points of the match for Brisbane. Keith Barnes.
Yes, but a fine opening period for the Brisbane boys. They've controlled their facet of the game particularly well. Certainly kicking is going to feature pretty prominently, I should imagine, now in their pre-match tactics, in their plans. And I like the placement of their kicks, particularly with the two bombs, where first of all they put it up underneath the goalpost and then across towards the wing, so there's going to be variation there. And certainly we've seen a few forced errors from the Parramatta side, but they've been forced because of the pressure that the Brisbane boys have applied. And it's been an impressive start by Brisbane in the opening 5 minutes.
So the first penalty to be taken by the 5'8", Bruce Harry, who came into the side to replace Wally Lewis. And there's the first points of the game, safely to Brisbane. And after almost 5 minutes, they lead by 2 points to 0. Not a big crowd here at Lang Park. I know the promoters were thinking that these two sides, with their best players on the field, their best name players, promoters were thinking of 15,000, even upwards of that figure. But it certainly wouldn't even be a third of that as Sterling restarts for the second time this evening. And that was nicely picked up over there by Cherry, the centre three-quarter. Cornescu, a player who is looked upon as a fine prospect in fairly high rugby league circles.
Curry in from fullback. And now a flash down the wing from the number 5, Wayne Chalice, but tackled by Taylor and by Phelan. Good work by Brisbane.
It was good work by Curry, the fullback. He chimed in and got his pass away particularly well to Chalice. We've heard some good reports about this youngster, and that was a very fine piece of play.
Chalice, incidentally, scored 3 tries against the New Zealanders in his representative debut.
Yes, but he could have been much more beneficial to his team than if he looked for the support on the inside, which was there.
So this scrum in centre ground, 32 metres out from the Parramatta line, and a penalty to Parramatta. Feet across. And so Cronin will come across and find the touch line on the broadcasting side, or the new grandstand side of the ground. Brisbane leading by 2 points to 0, a penalty at the 5th minute. Cronin's kick for touch, not a good one. And he's given a rousing raspberry by the Brisbane crowd here present. Sterling now. Bugden. And Bugden is tackled midway between the 22 and the halfway. That's Chris Phelan, former Rothmans medalist here in Brisbane. He was the subject of around about a $20,000 transfer fee, I think it was, or changeover fee, if they call it that now, from Queensland to Sydney. Paul Taylor will play it to Ray Price eventually. Now it's Sterling. Now Kenny. Cronin. Ella.
And here's the first break made by Parramatta. Ella taken by the fullback, but he's picked up Brett Kenny. Calls Eric Growth on his inside. Kenny gets the pass away to Ray Price. They're 3 metres out, Parramatta. Nice work by the Eels. First real chance they've had of showing their form. Out to Growth now, but he's put it down. And picked up by the 5'8" Harry for Brisbane now.
Yes, well, it was certainly a typical Steve Ella burst, but I couldn't understand why he neglected his winger outside him. Growth was really flying. He stepped inside, obviously felt that he could get inside fullback Tony Curry, but Curry took him safely. I thought it was a bomb chance from Parramatta.
So Grenke now, just inside the 22. Murray not finding touch, picked up by Growth. And he's 32 metres out from the line now. Tackler was his opposite number, Gary Thompson. Out to Kenny. Now to Cronin. Cutting out Muggleton, picking up Steve Ella. Now, what about his winger this time? Again, he's elected to go back in field and picks up the defence of Harry and Cherry. Sterling. Tackled by his opposite. Stephen Edge is the dummy half. Chris Phelan takes it up for one. Almost through. Only 15 metres out. Rod Morris was the tackler. Sterling. O'Reilly. Cronin's with him. John Muggleton's put it down. And it'll be a scrum about 12 metres out from the Brisbane line. Penalty to Parramatta. Again, it's against Cornescu for feet across. So the differential taken by Cronin. Parramatta will set up one of their many moves now. Penalties are favouring them at the moment. 2-1. Just one decided scrum to Brisbane. So Cronin shapes to kick this ball across ground. He may kick it. The winger may even come in and kick it. But he's put it over the dead ball line. A horrible kick by Michael Cronin. Nowhere near what the rehearsal would have been like, probably. A horror kick by Cronin.
Yes, it certainly was, and it's certainly given the Brisbane crowd a great deal of satisfaction, but I've seen a lot of tries come from that particular move. Well, I can't really understand it because it is a waste of 6 tackles, of course. And Parramatta guilty of a lot of uncharacteristic-like errors at the moment, and certainly not showing the form that has taken them to the top of the Sydney Premiership.
Peter Sterling knocking on then. And here's a scrum win to Parramatta. That levels up the scrums at 1-1. Ray Price put down heavily. Now here's Taylor. Now Ella. Out to Cronin. And it's fairly obvious the intention is to stand up on Cronin and not let him do anything at all with the ball. Here's O'Reilly. Out to the 22. And the Big Bear is on the ground now. Here's Sterling. Now Kenny. This is Cronin. Taken by Mark Murray. Next Wednesday, the first semi-final of the Cup. And a penalty to Parramatta. Obstruction, apparently holding is the ruling. Holding Sterling after he'd kicked the ball. And that first semi-final is between South Sydney and Newtown at Leichhardt next Wednesday. Tonight's winner, of course, goes into the second semi-final a fortnight tonight to play Manly. Cronin now, he'll have to get his kicking boots on shortly. That's a better touch finder. Just a few metres on the Parramatta side of halfway. TV ticker box will be conducted at the end of this first quarter. Sterling switching it to Muggleton, and Muggleton has put down quite heavily with Fullerton Smith coming over the top. He's come over the top a couple of times, very heavily on Price and Muggleton now. Here's Taylor. And he's under there, under the Brisbane defence. Chief tackler being Brian Niebling. Here's Bugden. Parramatta doing it tough at the moment, making a lot of mistakes. And Brisbane standing up and bustling them. Sterling, O'Reilly. O'Reilly, just short of halfway. Cornescu and Niebling the tacklers. Here's Sterling. A chip. Curry comes up. Takes it very spectacularly. Good take by Curry. Now, a moment of indecision for Brisbane. And Chalice it is who's put down. Morris, blindside. 2-0 in favour of Brisbane. Here's Murray. Fullerton Smith. Again, Murray. That man is Niebling. Cut down by Paul Taylor. By Peter Sterling, I correct myself. And now Harry kicks for touch. Harry Groth has it. He is certainly one man that they must check, and check very quickly. His Price. Almost to the end of the first quarter, about 5 minutes remaining. And here's Ella. Steve Ella, cut down from behind. Well, he's made a couple of breaks. In fact, that's his third, Steve Ella. O'Reilly turning it for Price to go ahead to the 32-metre line. And this is the last tackle coming up for Parramatta. Sterling, a torpedo chip, which has gone out on the full, and so a scrum will go down about 34 metres out from the Brisbane line. John Sattler will talk with Keith Barnes at the first quarter break. And the penalty goes to Brisbane. And he apparently had ordered Parramatta to pack, and they didn't, so a differential goes to the Brisbane side. Murray. Short ball there for Niebling, but he ran into the waiting shoulder of Michael Cronin. And up goes Grenke now. Tackled about 8 metres on the Parramatta side of halfway. 9 is Fullerton Smith.
A clean break. He left Muggleton and Phelan behind him. His pass in field knocked back by Parramatta. That's play on with Sterling.
Neil Hunt. Now O'Reilly to Kenny. And tackled by Harry. Bugden. A player who I'm fairly certain Jack Gibson will be looking to regain his form of 1980 when he won the Rothmans medal in Sydney. Jeff Bugden, because there must be a big worry with Ron Hilditch still on the sidelines, injured. And that bounce has favoured the Brisbane side. They're 32 metres out from the Parramatta line. A first quarter that Parramatta has failed to put it together. A mistake-ridden first 20 minutes.
Yes, certainly, but I think Parramatta have been pressured into a lot of those mistakes by a very eager Brisbane side that are very keen to get into the tackle and bustle Parramatta.
Here's Murray. How that could be deemed a scrum has got me absolutely baffled. It came off the legs of Greg Cornescu and it landed on the rump of the second rower. Fine, it's one thing to get a scrum down and get a decision and let's get on with the game, but that surely doesn't come under the heading of a successful scrum. However, here's Cherry now, taking it to within 15 metres of the Parramatta line. Rod Morris. Harry, the 5'8". Looking in vain for a runner, and there was a chance on Cornescu. That's Gene Miles, the big centre. Last tackle coming up for Brisbane. Out to Murray. The bomb. And Brett Kenny's underneath it with Paul Taylor, and I think it's Taylor. And a penalty to Parramatta. Sterling it was who came down with it. A minute and 50 seconds of the first quarter remaining. And Brisbane piling it on. All the pressure has certainly been applied by them. And Parramatta buckling a couple of times under that pressure.
mounted, I believe, jointly by Brisbane and themselves. Sterling, Bugden. Midway between 22 and halfway. Parramatta's end of the ground. Play on the old grandstand side. Here's Chris Phelan. Quarter time, just a minute away. O'Reilly, Ray Price. Price has made a clean break. Looking for support, finds Kenny. You can shut the gate. Very fast and sprinting away to go under the uprights. First try, clean break to Ray Price. Capitalised upon by Brett Kenny. And Parramatta lead 3-2 with the conversion attempt to come.
Yes, here it is from the head on as we see Ray Price make a characteristic burst. Breaks the Brisbane defence there, Niebling. And once Kenny chimed in on the outside there, it was a matter of shut the gate. And they haven't found too many gaps in this Brisbane defence, and Niebling has been one of their better workers. It was a little bit unfortunate for the Brisbane boys then that they did fail to cover Ray Price coming right up the end of the first quarter, because they'd been playing particularly well in that opening 20 minutes, and certainly you had by far the better of the game.
So an easy one for Michael Cronin as the final seconds tick away, and Parramatta grab the lead at 5 points to 2. We're coming up to the first quarter break. In fact, there's the siren. 5 points to 2, and almost coming up with the ball. Brisbane, in fact, also making some mistakes with it, and Parramatta have come up with it now, with Sterling tackled just inside the 22, and Steve Ella goes for a bit of a run. He's tackled 15 metres out, right in front of the uprights, and Parramatta very quickly onto the attack as Paul Taylor is put to ground. Sterling is the dummy half, and Jeff Bugden had a fairly strong start to the game. Bugden, and here's Muggleton, safely parcelled up on the 5th tackle, and it's going to be a scrum.
I think we may see Parramatta change their tactics a little bit this half. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bugden and Phelan and Big Bob O'Reilly take it up the middle of the ruck, attempting to give their three-quarter line a little bit more opportunity in attack, a little bit more yardage. Possession, of course, is going to be very important.
Price coming up with that valuable scrum win. Out to Taylor. 6 more, says the referee, and this is Steve Ella. He's flung to the ground by Norm Carr. He's lost it backwards, scooped up quickly by Paul Taylor.
Brisbane slow to cover them because they could have got possession from that opportunity.
Here's Sterling, now to Price. Turning it inside for Cronin, but everywhere Cronin seems to go these days, particularly at Lang Park, they're sweating on him. O'Reilly.
Oof.
Muggleton.
Gee.
Certainly looked forward, didn't it?
Gee, look forward to me.
This is Phelan. Phelan, one to beat. Tackled 2 metres out from the line. O'Reilly will be asked to play it on the 5th tackle. Edge, Sterling. The cross kick bomb coming off a Brisbane player.
Oh, yes, a chance.
And making a run at Gene Miles, but spilling it.
See, that was bad luck too, because it was a great opportunity then, and you know, we've been told that Curry's got plenty of pace. It would have really been interesting if he'd taken that pass, because he was in the clear. I think Parramatta taking a little bit more care now, and a little bit more conscious of possession of this ball.
So it's coming out again to Parramatta, and Steve Ella out to Cronin, a dummy, and then to Sterling. But he's flung to the ground again there by Norm Carr, and he's dispatched Sterling's shoulder pads. Bugden running hard off a Price pass. Only about 8 metres out from the line now. Parramatta looking as though they're going in again. O'Reilly, a long ball out to Muggleton, to Cronin. Cronin gets a pass down, but it's gone into touch. Muggleton not there. on that occasion anyway. Parramatta leading 5 points to 2. Looking very dangerous in the opening minutes of the second quarter. And here's Murray now. Tackled by Ella. Norm Carr picked up by Sterling. Clearing kick from Harry. Down for Paul Taylor. Takes Neil Hunt and Steve Ella with him. Sterling. Kenny leaving a couple in his wake. And he did a good trick, really, to even beat 2 from a standing start. Well, that's against Cornescu.
Penalties favouring Parramatta 5-2 at this stage, and the scrums 3 apiece.
That penalty count doesn't necessarily sound like the script is going the way that we were reading about. We were thinking there'd be a landslide penalty count to Brisbane if you could read the reports. But Gomasol has handed out the penalties quite savagely against Brisbane. The double run round, and Muggleton's put it down again. He's having a horror night, Muggleton. I don't think he's actually caught a ball safely all night. Sure, the defence has been good, but for a test player, he was entitled, after 25 minutes, to take one safely.
Yeah, certainly there's not much you can do without the ball, and he's obviously looking to create opportunities before he has it in his hands, and the Brisbane defence continuing to move up very quickly.
Parramatta are pushing the Brisbane pack completely off the ball. Here's Taylor, now Kenny, now Cronin. The defence holding. Fullback Curry making that tackle with Mark Murray, who's getting through a lot of work. A dummy to O'Reilly running the blind and picking up Bugden coming the open. Tackler was Grenke.
Kim ordered very strongly then too, Bugden.
Edge to Sterling, to Ella, and now to Phelan. A couple of these Brisbane players going in with the shoulder. They're not going in actually to make a tackle, but to hit with the shoulder, and a couple of times Parramatta forwards have been able to capitalise on it. Didn't quite happen then, but you probably saw Chris Phelan bounce off a shoulder. Sterling, the kick going through for Curry to go across. They've put it down. This will be a try. Yes, that's a Parramatta try, scored by Steve Ella off the Peter Sterling kick across, and a Brisbane player down injured in goal.
And a well-placed kick too from Sterling. Parramatta have been very impressive in this opening 7 minutes of this second quarter. They've been a lot more methodical and purposeful than they were in the opening 20 minutes and controlling the ball better. Unfortunate here, the two of them went up. The winger, Thompson, was the one that missed the ball. Yes, well, Thompson went up over the top of Curry, didn't he, and wasn't able to take it. And, of course, Steve Ella was right on the spot. He's had a marked impact on this first 30 minutes or 28 minutes of the game. He's made 2 or 3 devastating breaks, playing in the 5/8 spot this evening, and certainly opened up Brisbane.
So there's Cronin converting, and Parramatta go to a 10 points to 2 lead. Try to Kenny, try to Ella, and 2 goals by Cronin. And this will come back to the 22 for the place kick restart. So it's Ray Price who takes it. And almost able to slide the pass to Bugden. Here's Bugden now. 15 metres out from the 22. Muggleton. Picking up Sterling. The ball left behind for O'Reilly. 6 more tackles, says the referee. Phelan. Picked up in cover by Niebling and by Rod Morris. Taylor. Ray Price. That's the halfway line. Sterling and Taylor. Again, the cross kick bomb taken by Chalice and tackled by Kenny. Fullerton Smith. Play just on the Parramatta side of halfway through Rod Morris. Out to Harry. Short pass then for Brian Niebling. Still no gain in ground though for the Brisbane side. Getting across the field. And the last tackle now as it's spun out to Mark Murray standing out wide, and then a knock on. Knock on by Norm Carr. So the scrum will go down about 8 metres on the Brisbane side of halfway, with Brisbane themselves now having an unhappy quarter, as Parramatta did in the first 20. Parramatta's penalty. It's against the half for not retiring. Well, I'm afraid Barry Gomersall, the referee, is not earning any friends here at Lang Park. Taken by Edge. Oh, Muggleton's put it down again.
Yes, in fairness, though, I think Muggleton was, he lost his balance then. He was going to the ground. Obviously, he tripped. And I'd forgive him for that particular one. But Parramatta playing well in this second 20 minutes.
Grenke now. Norm Carr playing it just inside his 22. Rod Morris, Harry, and that's Fullerton Smith. Last tackle coming up for Brisbane. Mark Murray wasn't able to get the kick in, and the scrum is to go down about 8 metres inside the 22, with Gene Miles, the final Brisbane player, to handle. Parramatta getting a lot of weight in that scrum. Half time tonight, I'll be talking with Australian 5/8 and the man who was to have led Brisbane tonight, Wally Lewis. He'll be joining me at half time tonight. That's Rod Morris picking up Steve Cherry. About 8 metres out from the quarter. Again, it's with Morris, who hasn't worn the Brisbane jumper, he told me before the match, since I think 1975-76. Put down by Harry. And that's Curry to play it now. Morris. Fullerton Smith, tackled by Sterling. The kick by Harry. Getting underneath it is Neil Hunt. A fullback by trade, playing on the wing. Taylor.
And here's a chance too for Parramatta.
Kenny.
There's big trouble because Ella was coming up in the centre and Kenny lost his footing. Ella now. He's put it down. A lot of drop ball in this match in the
Yes,
first,
but there's been a lot of heavy defensive work too by both teams, and a lot of jolting defence. And I think this has contributed to some loose ball.
Parramatta's put it down 11 times. Brisbane on 6 occasions. That's 17 times. And we've had about 34 minutes of football. Penalty to Brisbane for stealing the ball. Parramatta 10, Brisbane 2. Morris. Gene Miles. Murray. Grinke. That's the halfway line. Murray. Harry. Norm Carr. Taken by Edge and O'Reilly. Fullerton Smith tackled by O'Reilly now. And now it's Murray. A short kick. Kenny's going back with Taylor. Taylor comes up with it to be tackled by Rod Morris in combination with Miles. About 15 metres, Parramatta side of halfway. Sterling, O'Reilly, Cronin. A good hard tackle there by Norm Carr, but still Michael Cronin was able to pinch another couple of metres. Here's Ella. Now O'Reilly switching it back to the blind for Muggleton. Sterling, Bugden. Good hard tackle by 3 Brisbane players, including Brian Niebling. Kenny. And coming up the centre there was Neil Hunt across from his left wing. Now O'Reilly. Cronin has put it down. And a knock on. 10 metres back on the Parramatta side of halfway.
That was one of the few chances too that Bob O'Reilly has had to utilise his ball skills, because he's been very closely watched, and obviously Arthur Beetson, who's been a teammate and an admirer of O'Reilly's ball skills for a long time, has obviously told his Brisbane players to concentrate on that. But on that occasion, he was able to create an opportunity for Mick Cronin.
So referee Gomersall deciding to put another scrum down after the previous one looked anything other than a scrum. Loose arm against Greg Conescu.
Penalties favouring Parramatta 7-4.
Half time, 2.5 minutes away now. Parramatta setting up the wall. Sterling, Price, first man off the wall, deciding to run with it. Parramatta putting a lot of their moves on tonight.
Well, that's the name of the game, isn't it? Keep the opposition guessing, and they're a very imaginative attacking side, Parramatta. There's every time a scrum goes down, or certainly from a tap penalty, they've got something different on, and it's certainly caused a lot of problems for the opposition.
Taylor tackled on the 22 line.
There's certainly nothing stereotyped about this Parramatta side.
Ray Price, O'Reilly, Kenny's with him, picks up Bugden, running as the second man. O'Reilly, Kenny, Cronin, Ella,
Inside 22, picking up Eric Groth. The big man has bumped off one, and he's into touch. Gary Thompson over there managing just to get Groth into touch. (10-2) to Parramatta. And at the moment, rolling on towards the semi-final against Manly. It's got to be a penalty, surely, for premature striking. It is. So Harry finds the touchline 32 metres out from his own line. Breeze in the first half has been with Brisbane. Not all that strong, but certainly with them in the first half. Brian Niebling. Murray. Paul Taylor getting underneath this. And he's got the choice of Ella and Hunt to use if he wants to. So Ella goes to dummy half now. In the final 10 seconds of the second quarter. Sterling, a long ball cutting out Kenny to Bugden to Cronin, onto John Muggleton, and he's put it down.
He's certainly having a horror game tonight.
So the siren, Brisbane deciding to kick. Taylor getting across, puts it down. They're offside. So Brisbane will take 2 points just before oranges. Taylor tried to make a slips catch of it, but when he realized that he hadn't taken it, I tend to think he was disappointed in himself. Instead of getting up and diving on the loose ball and forcing, well, in that case, he would have been forcing the half-time break. He was on the ground, basically, if you like, admonishing himself. There's the incident again. Ray Price looked at it as if to say, well, I've got to do something. I can't let them score a try. And so he did what was the only thing left to do.
But there was certainly no reason for Taylor to be spectacular in a situation like that, because he wasn't under any pressure. The halftime siren had gone, and he would have been much better advised to have let the ball bounce.
So just a reminder, after this kick, I'll be showing you a golden try nomination. Harry's kick is successful, and so at half-time, the Parramatta side lead Brisbane by 10 points into the third quarter. And the young man who ended the second quarter with a blemish was asked to take that ball, and Brett Kenny shows it twice before trying to make the split. And he's tackled just out from the 22. Got a bit of a ruffle up, too, from Fullerton Smith. Bugden takes it up strongly. Rod Morris, the tackler, 32 metres out from the Parramatta line now. Chris Phelan. Steve Sharp sitting on the bench tonight. His edge. Now it's with Sterling. The high kick for Curry to get underneath. He's made a mistake, and Kenny almost came up with it. It's a penalty to Parramatta. That's offside. Off the hand of Curry. It went back and was touched then by a Brisbane player. It's a correct ruling by Gomersall, but it would seem that he can do no right tonight. Well, very seldom does it appear that way. As I've said so many times before, a thankless task. Although this penalty readout does come as a shock, I can assure you. What is it now, Keith?
8-6 in favour of Parramatta. The penalty scrums for a piece.
So Cronin's going to chance this cross kick for Parramatta. What's going to happen? Straight across. They fly, and beautifully taken by Gene Miles, but he's forced in goal. Well, no, he's ruling that He was tackled in the field of play, and he brought him out and made him play the ball where he actually marked it. So Cornescu plays it now. Murray. He's through. Got through at least 3 Parramatta defenders. Good football by Murray. Neil Hunter's back to save, but I think he may have rolled off it, has he? No, Hunter's got it for Parramatta. But that was a fine break by Murray.
Yes, and a fine piece of football sense too when he elected to chip over the top as the Parramatta defence was converging on him. He showed good pace too to get away from Ray Price. I thought Ray Price had him covered, but he just had enough yardage to get away from him.
Ball being played by Brett Kenny on his own 22 line. O'Reilly. Now it's with Muggleton. That kick won't find touch, or will it? No, it's straightening up for Curry to get across for it. And he's picked up by the kicker, Muggleton and Sterling. Now he's lost it, and he's given a penalty for stealing it. (10-4). Parramatta having scored 2 tries. Harry finding touch, and Greg Cornescu will take the tap. Harry. Murray with a slip of a pass for Fullerton Smith to put it down, and is dived on by Michael Cronin. Here's Bugden. He's gone ahead with a lot of enthusiasm tonight, Bugden. Sterling. O'Reilly. Oh, he's popped a pass, and Cronin's knocked it on. Oh, he's calling out Cornescu an edge. My radio match on Sunday on 2KY, by the way, is the Canterbury Balmain game. Steering away from the Parramatta South match to see if the Bulldogs can hang in there in the semi-final race. Won by Brisbane. Away to Harry. Ella gets it back inside to Murray. Picked up by Kenny. Now it's with Morris. This man is Niebling. Around the back door for Curry. And he's eventually tackled by Edge. Now it's with Fullerton Smith. Morris. Cornescu. And play on, says the referee. Gary Thompson. Harry. Over the top, Phelan. 5 gone now. Gene Miles. Murray. He's through another gap. Ella's chasing. Curry's put it down now. So Muggleton to play it for Parramatta. Murray making 2 fine breaks in this third quarter. Neil Hunt. Here's Cronin. Shows it to Ella, then makes the split himself. Picks up Ella on the run round. Onto Kenny. They'll be hard-pressed to stop them now. Kenny picked up from behind. He had Neil Hunt on his inside, unmarked. He was just checked there for a stride, Kenny. Gene Miles picked him up. Ella goes on with it. Curry's underneath it. He's made a mess of it. And it's a try to Peter Sterling. Peter Sterling's fair try.
Yes, really interesting to see that. I was of the opinion that Curry had forced the ball in underneath the sticks. It'll be interesting to see it. Now, Gomershaw was on the spot, but a good kick over the top from Ella. It'll be interesting here as Curry's racing for the ball.
Well, Curry...
He's knocked this backwards. Well, it's...
The only question I have is when Curry actually fell on the ball, I think he forced the ball with a downward pressure and he was in the in goal. Away. And that should be the end of the section.
Yes, well, I didn't think it was a try either. And
well, I must admit, seeing it on that replay now, that it looks like Curry has in fact forced the ball. The fact that he rolled off it probably is, well, it is. It's irrelevant. So the try has been awarded, as controversial as it may have been, and Parramatta lead by 15 points to 4. I wonder, can we see that again at an opportune moment, just to see when Curry did actually, when he did, we'll look at it three-quarter time, you and Sats, if you don't mind, Keith.
Right.
I think he was across the line when I see it on that occasion, and that would constitute having forced the ball on a line dropout.
But young Curry has blotted his copybook on a few occasions now in this third quarter. Certainly mistimed a bomb that was placed up in the air. He's mishandled on a couple of occasions, and then of course he squandered that one.
Here's Muggleton. "32 metres out from their own line. Sterling.
He's been outplayed by Murray so far this evening, in my opinion.
I can't argue with that. Here's O'Reilly. And picking up Neil Hunt. They might not have put it all together tonight, Parramatta, but by Jove, they've got plenty of variation in their play, haven't they? Curry.
Yes, well, that'll do his confidence a lot of good, and it was good tactics by Parramatta too, because they'd obviously be aware that Curry would be a bit shaky and lacking in confidence after that try that Parramatta scored, and it was good tactics to put the bomb up to him pretty quickly, but he took it well.
Another bust made by the Brisbane side. That was Grenke, the prop forward, running off a Mark Murray pass. Here he is again. Now it's to Harry. That's Cherry, the centre, away from Cronin. Picked up by Edge and Muggleton. Here's Gene Miles. Miles. Picked up by Taylor. Little man on big man. But they can't run without legs. Long ball. Parramatta's Paul Taylor going through after it, but Brisbane still in possession. Now they've lost it. Now they've got it back again, but the referee is ordering a scrum. "32 metres out from the Parramatta line. Miles picking up Cherry. Picked up by Kenny in cover. Harry. And again, Kenny the tackler. Morris, Murray, Niebling. Tangled by Chris Phelan. Morris. Ball being played by Mark Murray. Here's Curry. Grenke. And the end of 6. About 9 minutes of time remaining in the third quarter. And Keith will be talking to John Sattler at three-quarter time. Big League is out and available at the news agencies tomorrow and at all the premiership fixtures, of course, over the weekend. And a reminder, we're back at Leichhardt next Wednesday with the first semi-final between Souths, the current cup holders, and Newtown. Newtown on the boil at the moment with a win over Manly last Sunday. It's Muggleton. Phelan. Out to the 22. Ray Price. O'Reilly. Price. Taylor. He's recaptured possession, but the referee has ordered the end of 6 tackles. As a replacement is jogging out for Parramatta, it's Steve Sharp, and he's giving Bob O'Reilly an early shower. So Steve Sharp will go into the front row. O'Reilly given an early use of the shower. Brisbane winning the scrum to Harry, the 5'8", the run round for Murray. Murray into a gap and knocked down by Parramatta. 6 more tackles. 6 more again, says the referee. Out to Harry, on to Cherry. Away from Sterling. He could score. He's short. He's a metre short. It's out to Harry now. A long ball. Across to Mark Murray. Tackled by Taylor. Gave it to Conescu. The Brisbane crowd brought to their feet for one of the few times tonight by this side. That's the wing 3/4 Gary Thompson. Now Gene Miles. Turning it back to be dived on by Harry. 20 metres out from the line. Norm Carr. Tackled by Muggleton and Phelan and by Steve Sharp. Parramatta 15, Brisbane 4. Grenke. Tackled effectively by John Muggleton. 5 tackles gone. Murray puts up the bomb. Getting underneath it is Brett Kenny. Look at him fly.
Yes, it's certainly a good tactical ploy of Parramatta's when Kenny drops back into the fullback position to take those high bombs. Obviously, they feel that Taylor's stature poses a problem for him with the high bombs, and invariably you see Kenny behind the line, and he takes it extremely well.
Sterling. Here's Steve Sharp. Fresh man. 30 metres out from his own line. That's Neil Hunt. 6 minutes of quarter number 3 to go. Sterling. Cronin. Taylor. Five gone for Parramatta. Good defence by Brisbane. Sterling. Taken nicely by the fullback Curry. Carr. Niebling. Tackle by Cronin and by Phelan. Thompson's the number 2 for Brisbane. Chalice across from his right wing to lend a hand. The KB Cup. 3rd quarter final being played just out of sequence. The winning side going on to play Manly Warringah in a fortnight from tonight. Murray. 9 metres, Parramatta side of halfway. Blindside for Curry. Sharps across in cover with Kenny. And the end of 6 now for this scrum to go down 32 metres out approximately from the Parramatta line.
Very important remaining 4.5 minutes now as far as Brisbane are concerned. It'd be great from Arthur Beetson's point of view if he could get a try or points on the board now in the remaining minutes of this 3rd quarter. Parramatta well in control, leading by 15 points to 4. But if the Brisbane boys were able to come up with a try, it would certainly bring the crowd alight for the final 20 minutes.
Replacement on for the Brisbane side. Wearing jumper number 16 is Cavill Hughes. That's him with the ball now. Price around the legs, edge over the top. Dummy half is Brian Niebling running with it. Price makes the tackle. And 5 gone for Brisbane now. Cavill Hughes. Morris. Murray gets the kick in before Bugden puts him down. Kenny's underneath it. And I think he got a touch, Kenny. He did. It's a line dropout.
Certainly Brisbane lacking the creative ability of Wally Lewis out there tonight. They're certainly an energetic and enthusiastic side. but they just lack that little bit of class around the rucks, and a player, of course, like Lewis is able to create so many opportunities for runners.
Under the circumstances, that only adds weight to the performance of Mark Murray, because that job has been left to him fairly much.
Yes, it has, and he's had an outstanding game here this evening. He's controlled the play around the ruck. A lot of the creative work too has been left to Rod Morris, and that's not his kettle of fish. He's taking the first pass off the ruck on a lot of occasions.
This is him playing the ball now. Now it's Murray. And Grenke. Gary Grenke. I thought for a moment he may have lost it. Here's Murray. Now Harry. Away from Sterling. Kenny's got him. So is Stephen Sharp, and so is Ray Price. 2 3/4 minutes before the break. Hughes. Norm Carr. Tackle by Taylor. Morris. And frustration football. It came off. Cavill Hughes taken by Steve Ella. And he'll probably put a scrum down. No, he's ruled that it was knocked backwards. Play on, says the referee. Curry puts up the bomb. Kenny's back there again for it. Safe as a bank. Away from one. Into an opening. Flick pass for Ella. And now to Paul Taylor. A long ball out to Michael Cronin. Neil Hunt. Onto the attack goes Brisbane with Curry. Taken by Taylor. Right in centre ground on the 22 line. Parramatta's in. Morris. Brisbane trying to get that ball out wide if they can. They're keeping it in the air. Carr, Murray. They're really throwing it about now, Brisbane. But still the blue and golds come back with the defence. Now it's Harry. A short ball for Brian Niebling. Shoulder charge by John Muggleton.
Yes,
Paul Taylor makes the tackle.
A bad shoulder charge too. I don't like to see a second row attempt to knock an opponent out of the way in a situation like that inside your own quarter.
Rod Morris to play it now. 15-4. 1 minute to go. Harry turning it for Murray now. Tidied up by Sharp in 16. 5 tackles for Brisbane. Harry, Carr, second man as the receiver, Gene Miles. And the tackler was Chris Phelan. The KB Cup third quarter final, 15-4. And come on, Brisbane, come on, was that pull through you saw on this electronic scoreboard here at Lang Park. An innovation that has added quite a bit to the spectacle of rugby league here. Out with Harry. Now to Miles. Turning it for Thompson. Thompson's tackled on the 22. 8 seconds to go to the third quarter break. Can Brisbane score? Harry. Picking up Brian Niebling. Held by Taylor and by Phelan. Got to pass away. Harry puts up the bomb in desperation as he hears the siren. Now Kenny is under it with Sterling. The bounce of the ball, and it'll be the end of the quarter. It is. They're having a commanding lead at this stage of 15 points to 4. And that's Eric Growth taking it out beyond the 22. Good run by Growth, and that was good covering tackle made by Gene Miles. Here's Graham Atkins on the field now for Parramatta. He's obviously taken the place of Neil Hunt. Sterling cuts out Bugden, picks up Phelan. Let's have a look through the Brisbane side and see if Arthur's made any more changes. No, it would appear just Cavill Hughes. And Sterling, he might find touch with that. It's getting across there to the touchline quickly, and too quickly for Curry. And so a scrum will go down just outside the Brisbane 22. It's quite amazing the very few times that this Parramatta side actually kicks for touch in general play. You'll see the grub kick exponents like Ken Wilson and company finding touch regularly, and good territory is gained on the last tackle with the grub kick, but Parramatta seldom uses it. They more or less persist with the bomb, putting it up in the air and straight down the middle of the field. Atkins. £15-4, and I think it was proven conclusively, looking at that head-on replay, that the last Parramatta try was a lucky one in the final analysis. Here's Phelan now, playing it on the Brisbane 22. Sterling. Kenny. Kenny looks around, picks up Paul Taylor. That was a nice piece of work by Brett Kenny. He's a polished player. 5 tackles gone. Sterling, up goes the bomb now. Ella's coming through, and he has been beaten for the ball by Curry, who ran into the goalposts. He's back into the field of play, and he's okay. Greg Cornescu now, playing it just a few meters out from his goal line. Running with it is Cherry, the centre. Stephen Edge picking him up from behind. Sharp. Kenny. He'll go on and score. His second try of the night.
Yes, well, that was a bad mistake by Brisbane. Then under pressure, obviously looking to clear the ball away from their line. The pass went astray. Kenny onto it very, very quickly. He's had a fine game out here this evening. He's a fine player. Plenty of pace, and you saw his acceleration and the way he was able to step inside the Brisbane defence. Good play by Sharp here too, because he's sighted the opportunity of getting the ball straight to Kenny. He's careered through the gap, stepped inside, and was able to go across. And of course Parramatta have always been in control, leading by 11 points coming into this final quarter. Here it is from the head on.
This is one youngster, Brett Kenny, who I hope the selectors give another shot. And I certainly will be I'll be happy as a rugby league lover if his name comes out when they announce the Kangaroo touring side, because he will be, I would think, a very, very handy player to have on a touring party of England and France. The kick by Cronin, a beauty. And Parramatta lead by 20 points to 4, 21 points to 4. Showing on the scoreboard, that wouldn't be right. 20 points to 4 is the score. Here he is now, Kenny. Bugden. Sterling. There goes Eric Groth. 32 metres out now. Sterling. That's going to find touch. Another good touch finder by Sterling. 30 metres out.
Good tactics, of course, by Parramatta now, getting play down into Brisbane's territory and really applying the pressure.
Steve Eller at 5'8" for the scrums. Kenny plays in the centres.
Still, even allowing for the score at this stage, 20 points to 4. 4 tries to Parramatta. I give a lot of credit to the Brisbane side. Certainly they've been handicapped by the lack of 4-star players when you take in Scott the fullback, Khan, Meninga and Lewis, and I think it's to the credit. There's a lot of youngsters out there this evening, and they've certainly given a non-stop performance in defence. They've put a lot of pressure on Parramatta, and even though the scores indicate that Parramatta have been in control, 20 points to 4, they certainly haven't had everything their own way.
Rod Morris. Tackler was Sterling. Cherry now. Here's Murray. Now Harry. This is Miles. Steve Sharp, the tackler. Cavill Hughes. Last tackle for Brisbane, Morris. He must have nullified the tackle count. I thought he had his hand in the air indicating this is the last. Murray. Niebling. Bugden around the legs. This is Murray again. Kenny's taken it off him, and he's got him for stealing the ball. Gary Grenke. Brisbane getting ready to send their 3 replacements out. Holus Bolus. Niebling now. And still Parramatta refusing to allow Brisbane a try. Maybe this man can do it now. Gene Miles. Tackled by Kenny. 5 tackles gone. Murray. It's too full over the dead ball line. So these 3 replacements will come out, I would presume. No, the touch judge not allowing them onto the field yet. And inside the 5 against Brisbane. So Bruce Astle, Terry Webb and Bob Galloway have gone on. Brian Niebling. Rod Morris has been replaced. And so too has Bruce Harry. Parramatta's getting a couple of replacements to come out to counter the fresher Brisbane players now. Howell and Mansfield will play the last 10 minutes for Parramatta. Bugden. John Muggleton playing it. Peter Sterling. Price. Can he pop it? He's still got the ball, but he's offside. That's a correct ruling by Gomersall. Whether you like it or not, it's a correct ruling.
Well, certainly the crowd up here liked it.
Yeah, I've got to be very honest, Keith. I mean, the man's copped a hell of a lot of criticism over his control of the State of Origin match here, and a lot of pre-match criticism of him was levelled coming into this game tonight. I don't think the man's had a bad game at all.
No, we couldn't query any of his rulings.
Well,
he's kept a pretty good.
But he certainly,
yes, of course.
He had hindsight on. We had hindsight on the try, and so did he. Physical hindsight on it.
Yes, but every indication was, of course, that he was going to be particularly severe on Parramatta, and that hasn't resulted. He's given a pretty impartial performance, I feel.
Some of his rulings have been difficult to make, but he's been in a position to make them, and you've got to give some credit where it's due, surely. It's easy to bag a referee, that's for sure. A few times in this match, Parramatta's defence has been found wanting. That's Kellaway in 14. Murray. And Muggleton has the ball safely for Parramatta. Their replacements are out there now. Gary Howell
And Glenn Mansfield is the other boy. Here's Ella. He's looking for Eric Growth. Picked up by Curry. Cronin. Growth on the run round. Tackled by Norm Carr. And Mansfield may get the touch here on the blind side. He doesn't. It's gone to Phelan. Mansfield is in 17, a dummy half now. Sterling. Price. Kenny. Cronin. The run round's on. Muggleton takes it up. Kenny's on his inside. Picks up Atkins. Kenny's on his inside for try number 3. Beautiful positional football. Splendid piece of football by that youngster, Brett Kenny. 3rd try of the night for him.
Yes, and it probably wouldn't have made any difference either that Brisbane's fullback Tony Curry was off the field, as we see Cronin send a long pass to Muggleton. Muggleton, of course, drew his opposite, the winger sent, and then it's back inside to Kenny. And as Ray said, it was great positional play by the Parramatta side, and of course they're really opening up now. Just unfortunate as far as Brisbane were concerned, but it showed the cleverness of the likes of Cronin and Muggleton when the ball sped across the field, and as you see, Muggleton's chained in there, draws his winger, sends Atkins away, back inside to Kenny, and it's over underneath the posts. Uh, 25 points to 4. And even at, you know, you look at that 25 points to 4, and Brisbane, they've given a good performance, and they've had their opportunities to put tries on the board. Certainly they haven't got the precision or the teamwork that that Parramatta have displayed out here this evening, but they've certainly given an enthusiastic performance.
Well, it would seem that Jack Gibson has called Steve Ella from the field. I was of the impression that they'd used their 4 replacements.
I think they're playing with 12 men, aren't they?
I think they are. Here's Parramatta playing with 12 men now. Steve Ella taken, well, he wasn't taken from the field, he just walked off with trainer Alf Richards. The message obviously went out from Gibson to bring him off. The boy they call the Zip Zip Man, Steve Ella, cousin of the fabulous Union trio. And remiss of me not to have mentioned it earlier, but congratulations to those 3 marvellous advertisements for your code of rugby union, Glenn, Mark and Gary. 25 to 4, Parramatta just rolling onwards towards another engagement with Manly in a semi-final at Leichhardt in a fortnight. Oh boy, will that be a big one. That pass might have been a shade forward, but Terry Webb it is, with the ball playing it now. Kellaway, big lump of a boy. A lot of youth in this side. Keith, I was talking to Rod Morris before the match, and there's several 19-year-olders, including Cabell Hughes, I'm told, who just passed that ball on to Cherry.
Yes, there's a lot of
by Kenny.
There's a lot of ability in the side too. Certainly, no one in the Brisbane side has been more impressive than Murray. But this young Curry has shown out on a few occasions. Certainly, he's made his mistakes, particularly with a high bomb. His defence has been reasonably solid, and there's a couple of the forwards too that. Fullerton Smith has impressed me while he was on there, and Curry in the centre. He's done a good job marking Mick Cronin.
I don't think it's an embarrassment to be beaten by 20 points by this side. I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that they've played well tonight, Parramatta. They certainly played awful in the first 20, but that can be put down to good Brisbane defence. Astle getting a pass on for Norm Carr. Can they crack that line? Paul Taylor turns them back. 17 going to ground. Terry Webb. Just 4 minutes to go. And a chance still there for Brisbane to crack that Parramatta line. That's Cherry, the centre. Murray. A top performance by Mark Murray tonight. Kellaway to Carr. Now a chance. They surely must score here. He's across. Bruce Astle, the try scorer. Brisbane's first points on the board as far as tries are concerned. And the scoreline 25-7 now.
Yes, and a well-deserved try too, because Carr was able to switch the play out here to Astle, and Astle steps inside Sterling and goes over with a couple of Parramatta defenders clinging to him. But Brisbane, they've given a wholehearted effort, and they've gone close on a number of occasions. They've had the opportunity to put trays on the board. Probably they lack just that little bit of class and ability to breach a Parramatta defence that's been pretty solid, and we know how solid they have been in the Sydney competition. But it's to Brisbane's credit that they have kept on trying, and it's good to see them score that try.
So here in the Winfield Premiership in Brisbane, Valleys still unbeaten. Talk of the town, aren't they? Valleys. Just one draw against their name. And that's a good kick from out on the touchline. Just coiling a little bit and waved away. The kicker was Terry Webb. Astle, the try scorer, 25-7 scoreline. And there's the timepiece indicating just 2 minutes to go. Next Sunday morning, by the way, for Channel 10 viewers in Sydney, to our World of Rugby League program, we have got the edited version of the clash between James Cook High and Patrician Brothers Fairfield, which was played as a curtain raiser to the second test last Saturday. So that replay of James Cook and Patrician Brothers Fairfield will screen in 10's World of League next Sunday morning, whilst on Brisbane's Channel O, the league station up here, and our sister station, to whom we say thank you for tonight in particular. Queensland viewers will see the replay of tonight's earlier match in the Commonwealth Bank Cup between Toowoomba High and Clairvaux College. That's replayed at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. And they say that the Toowoomba High 5/8 is a player and a half to see. His name's Stephen Carter. Stephen Carter? Captain of the Australian side. So keep your eye out for him on Channel O on Saturday morning. Johnny Sattler put a huge rap on him. Kellaway. Dying seconds of this last quarter-final. Parramatta going on to play Manly in the semi-final. The ball turned out there to Cherry, on to Norm Carr, who's tackled by John Muggleton, who's picked his game up in the second half in particular after one of those horror commencements. 30 seconds from the siren. Gene Miles getting a kick in, charged down by Paul Taylor, and Ray Price coming up with it. But the referee ruling a knock-on against Price.